Hello everybody, this is the Cat-Based Games, and welcome back to Crossout. And today we'll be analyzing the new faction, and with what we already know of the new faction, and what is not yet known, and is probably still like in the dark, lurking, which should be quite a bit of hype. So, first off, we're gonna go over and look at the stepping rules in Dawn Shoulder faction for a little bit from how many items in each crafting table there is. So with the uh, Steppen Wolves, we got the Mandrake Tsunami, two legendary weapons. And in the Dawn Challenge, we have a legendary weapon and two legendary modules. And I'm going to assume there are going to be two legendary weapons, again with the new Firestarter faction. But we only got that the legendary non-turreted flamethrower spoiled yet. So we still have a second legendary item that is not yet spoiled and unknown what it is. We did have that one drone spoiled that might be legendary, and we had that one module that instantly would reload spoiled, but I'm not sure if those are both going to be legendaries or whatever they're going to be, but it's possible that those are the legendaries there. Then for epics, of course we got a cabin, two weapons, and a movement part. And in Adult Children, we also get two weapons, a movement part, and and we also got a cabin. And we get two modules as well, which we do not really have on the Stab Wolves. So for the fire starters, we got the catapult, which is epic weapon number 1. We got the Skinner, which will be epic weapon number 2. And actually for the shop, this here, that new pack is... Oh, it says purchased? Wait, let me check that. Packs. Apparently I got it as purchased. Okay. So, the pack says, and like what it has the unique cabin Cerberus. And that said, this is probably not going to be the cabin for the faction. We'll probably get another epic cabin from the faction itself, because this one is said to be unique. And it did not say that the meat grinders are unique. However, we got those monster wheels spoiled, which are apparently epics. And of course, these factions only get one epic movement part. So unless the Firestarters get two different epic movement parts, the meat grinders will probably become pack only. So that's something to be aware of. I'm not sure yet, but it is possible that the meat grinders will not come available for crafting, at least right away. So if that happens, you guys will have to get those by either the market or buying them from the pack once, and then like getting the other ones you want for like off the market again, because you kind of want to have 4 of these. I mean, they're not as heavy as like the armored track with 1440 kilograms of mass versus 800, which is a bit lighter, and they're about the same size. And you often carry 4 armored tracks, so you kind of want to use 4 meat grinders. But the meat grinders are, in my opinion, better than the armored track. Really, like the 800 difference in kilogram, like in mass, is almost taken up in difference in total mass. Actually, it's the 640 kilograms you get like lower with the meat grinder. It is 600. It's just 640 kilograms less, but also 800 tonnage less. So the actual difference is actually only 160 kilograms of tonnage if you consider its own weight part of the tonnage. So the effective tonnage for armor tracks is only 160 more. And it's way heavier. So like if you want to have high tonnage, you can better use meat grinders, because then you also have a lot more mass left. And that's the difference between armor tracks and meat grinders, mainly. And of course, the armor tracks have that speed reduction that the meat grinder has less of, and the meat grinder, of course, has strafing. So in my opinion, the meat grinder is currently objectively better than the armor track, and they should really do something to fix that armor track. Like, yeah, like the tracks in general, like they need some way of buff to compete with the hovers, meat grinders, and like the mechanic lacks the same thing. Like they need something to become better. Like they have a really high tonnage, but they're still like lower as both the armor trackers and meat grinder, like 2800 to 2250. And this one is 900 kilograms of mass, and this is 800 kilograms of mass. So again, like you can objectively take better to take the meat grinder. And the meat grinder also has more health, and is just overall bigger, and has better acceleration. Like even though the mech lacks reduce recoil, you have like you're gonna need 6 of them at least, and you're gonna need 4 meat grinders only, really. So like unless you're gonna build really big, you only then you're gonna use 6 meat grinders. So the mech lacks are objectively worse than the meat grinder as well. Harder tracks and small tracks can't really be compared because they're much smaller. But I just feel the mech lacks and armor tracks being purely inferior here. But so yeah, the epic movement part is that, and then the 2 weapons are covered as well. So we still have that one epic cabin that's not yet covered. And having this one being a heavy cabin and this here being the medium cabin, it might actually be a currently unknown 13 energy cabin. Unless they're gonna toy around again with like weapon built in, as with the wildfire, the Cerberus cabin. Of course, like it's entire 13 energy cabin, but one of those points is already used by the melee weapon, so it effectively only has 12 energy. So there might actually be a hidden 13 energy cabin. I'm not confirming there is. I'm just like speculating here because every faction gets their cabin, and the Cerberus is a unique cabin, so it will not become craftable. Like unless they change that, of course. But again, that just means there's another cabin, and seeing how the step rules get heavy down turning medium, and then the new faction should get light, it might end up like having that 13 energy cabin that we all really wanted, but it possibly has 10 less. It will be like this thing only has 10,000 mass limit. It's just like pretty low. If you're just gonna compare it here in the cabins, like you get the normal quantum 5 to 10. If you compare to the Wyvern 4 to 9, like it gets slightly better. But if you compare the Gruul 3 to 6 to the Cerberus 4 to 8 to 5, like it gives less than double. This one gives just like slightly more, and this actually gives quite a bit more. So yes, it does get like mass increase, but I'm not sure how. Like it will not go as high as the quantum. I still think the quantum is a little bit low compared to like if you go to your 16 to 20,000. The humpback needs a little bit more, and the quantum probably needs a little bit more. Here, overall, I think we kind of need to prolong time to kill with a little bit more mass on every cabin. So like everything gets a little bit more health, and of course that will up the power score so slightly overall on all the builds. But if like it goes all flat, then that really doesn't matter. And glass cannons will like be in comparison they will go a little bit lower in the matchmaker, but in return they will have like less health than everybody else, and they have a more difficult time killing people at lower tiers. Just a little thought there. So of course we got the rares, we got then the shift wheels that are just gonna be the 2 wheels here. The cabin is gonna be the bat cabin, and the weapon is going to be the here we go. Of course going to be the jug bow. So that's the stuff we already got. And like comparison this cabin, like the here don't really make a difference, so that probably is like that's probably just gonna be it. Like the only real thing we got unknown yet is that cabin, and whether meat grinders will be craftable or not. Because I'm just again just gonna assume that the drone and that module are gonna be legendary. So yeah. Still, there's also something that you guys might have not noticed. What I noticed at the catapult. The catapult, when actually firing, I'll just make a little build here. So, and I'll be grabbing a Aurora and a Mandrake for a second. Guess I'll just grab an ice box, just some random big cabin, and the meat grinders. So I gotta say, good job on the dev team to fixing that little bug with the connection points that the meat grinder so fast. I literally noticed it, and it was patched in less than a day. When I actually showed like reported it, so that's actually really good. Where are you? There we go. Oh, there's a same button. So I was like, wait, our Mandrake is left mouse button probably. So when they fired the Mandrake, like the catapult at somebody, oh, I have to actually back up a little bit. Oh wait, I'm getting on a hill. There we go. Now we got that better minimum range. Oh. There we go. So when we fired, basically whenever he got hit, this happened. The things heated up. That's what happened, and the fire actually was longer. It didn't do as much damage on impact as this gun, but it heated things up like the Aurora, like this. So it gave her increased damage. So I'm just thinking about that effect. It's just gonna be probably gonna be a crowd control support weapon. You do not want to carry more than one. You just want to like toss it into a group of enemies, let everybody heat up, and then have a team of equalizers like come in and bombard people with shells with increased damage because of the catapult. I'm especially like thinking bridge map here, so like all the enemies will be under the bridge and you'll be on top of the bridge and catapulting downwards. And just like heating everything up, and then a team of equalizers comes from the other side of the bridge, like from far out, and wipes them all up. That will actually be a really interesting tactic there. So the catapult is going to be an interesting weapon. The drone is not yet known what it will do, so who knows, really. And of course the Skinner is no damage, but connecting stuff. I'm still have to find like a really good way to actually use them in combination with other weapons. I mean, they might work with shotguns, but why would you use that instead of like coolers or an additional shotgun? Spark will already slow things down in terms of short range. They might again, like I tried them with the firebug, so they kind of work, so they might actually do something there. Porcupine, you cannot refire at the same angle, so you actually have to reposition anyway, so you don't really want to stay at the same place, so I doubt that will work. Melee, maybe, but if you're just fast enough, and you can just, if you like, I would take another Harvester over a Skinner, because the increased damage, like, if you can shorten the time to kill to under 5 seconds on most builds, then you'll be able to, like, you don't really need a Skinner, because in those 5 seconds and taking your own acceleration and speed on a light cam like the Cerberus or Grill into consideration, I don't think you really will, like, need that Skinner. Of course, they can be used for fun builds for, like, let's say, just gonna grab one of those things, and let's say just you got a Huntsman cabin, right like this, and you just grab yourself that Skinner, oh, that's not the Skinner, that's the spike, just grab it on top, and throw caucuses in the back. And you just like let like probably a party member just drive up, and you'll just harpoon it up with Skinner, and then use the caucuses and just like be a support unit. Although it works better with the Skinner being on the moving build instead of like the stationary build, because it has a tendency to like disconnect Sometimes I've noticed that. So yeah, it sometimes has a little bit, and like because of speed issues, it sometimes has difficulties to actually keep connected. Also, what I did have thought about with the Skinner is its viability in Old Town and trying to be Spider-Man. Like, just imagine just having something built with boosters and trying to get on top of a building and just like hanging on the ledge so you don't fall down and so you can boost up and then get close to the top. Sadly, that doesn't work. They added invisible walls to the top of the buildings. Now, I do have tried actually such things a long time back, with like before the Skinner was there, and I actually managed to get on top or inside a building once. Like, you know that one section next to the cap, so like that where the cap is partially obstructed by a big building. I literally like that building is literally like I'll just grab myself some other shapes. It's kind of shaped like this. And there's a building in the center as well, but like there is a ring around it. And I managed to get myself inside that ring. It was hilarious. But yeah, there's some speculation here on the new faction and what to use the new stuff for. Like, of course, the junk bow is actually a really good weapon. High damage output, you can grab 3 to 4 of them at mid to high tier, and like you'll probably end up having 3 armoring around them and getting some support equipment. So with the 4 energy left, you'll probably be using a Hot Rod engine, a Aegis Prime, and a Chameleon. That's probably the best combo because you can protect yourself, you can increase your reload time and your speed, and you can actually like sneak up on people with the Chameleon. With that combo, and probably just a radar radio, of course. Like, I don't think you'll be running a radar detector over a Chameleon, so that's probably like the end game build for a junk bow. And I probably will build one of those things in a little while. But it's just a really good gun overall with the high damage, but the high fall off really means like it's actually something that actually might work with the Skinner because you have to be at almost melee distance. So that's why it's also a pretty effective weapon in combination with the Cerberus, because you kind of want to be so up close that you can touch the enemy anyways. So you might as well just touch them with the built-in melee weapon of the Cerberus, because why the heck not? You probably want to upgrade to a Hauler Cerberus, but that is gonna be a very expensive task, especially if you like um do not get the Hauler instantly and you get the like heavy lifting one. Because the heavy lifting one is pretty useless because you might as well add some more wheels that have high tonnage to mass ratio. Like this is 5 to 1. And this is like even more. This is like 5 to 0.8. Like just Renaults or something. Those aren't that great in comparison. Not great in comparison either. Probably you're gonna run Lunars right there. 3 to 1. These might work actually. 250 to 40. Although it's actually going to 70 for 350. That's actually 1 out of 6. That's it. Those might actually be the best wheels I've seen so far. Right now, with like just looking at them for once. Like, what do I really want from them? Of course, these ones also are really great. But like, they have a really good tonnage for what they actually are. But I think chained wheels are actually currently the highest tonnage ratio, but they do not have great grip, so you do have to think of that, and they're pretty damn big. And like just running high tonnage to mass ratio wheels makes it so you can cut as much mass as possible, and just running lightweight armor, just a buggy actually armor, because the hot rod parts are sadly heavier than I expected them. I'll be analyzing their like overall power score, durability, mass ratios. I'll have to do that on all armor parts anyway, so I'll be doing that like pretty damn soon if possible. We have a weekend currently now anyway, so I might as well get to it. So yeah, like just some think thoughts. Like, what do you guys think that will be the new cabin? And do you think that the meat grinder will be craftable? And whether those drone and module, like separate of each other, will either one of those be legendary? Will both be legendary, or do you think both will be epics? And like, if just a drone would be legendary, what would you think we would have for another legendary? Because they probably would have another legendary then. And otherwise, like, just like, what do you think is not spoiled yet that might be interesting? And I'd love to hear all of your guys' thoughts, really. So again, thank you guys all for watching as always, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye, guys.